I'm Mike Costello, and I'm here with Dr. Iris Freelander. And today we'd like to talk to you about life being great. And boy, isn't life great, Iris.
Well, actually, it is. And what someone said, you're about as happy as you make up your mind to be. And that is so true. And when we see people moping around and being morose, then we can just feel sorry for them because we lose our perspective and we can't see the bright side of life, but there's always a bright side, isn't there?
Absolutely. And I was just thinking when we did the opening, there's a hymn or a chorus that we sing at church. Oh, it's great, great, absolutely great just to be alive today. And it's great to be enthusiastic, and it's great to be healthy, and it's great to, all of those aspects are so fundamental to what our life and ministry and work and counseling is all about. And so often people talk about New Thought and metaphysics as just pop psychology and a feel-good religion. Well, last Sunday we were doing an educational program, as you know, and I said, what's wrong with that? And it is tremendously important for us to have a feeling about the greatness of life. And of course, one of the things we'd like to do every time we have a counseling session with anyone, or we have a lecture, or we have a church service, or we have a gathering, is that people leave feeling really great. And we really strive to do that. And it doesn't mean necessarily a lot of hoopla, although we do some of that too, but it is really a choice that we consciously make, and then it is a teaching that we are very serious about because it's fundamental, again, to New Thought and to metaphysics. And metaphysical philosophy is about that aspect of drawing out the best in all of us and being as positive as we can. And life is filled with choices, all kinds of choices. And we find so often that people make the wrong choices, and the wrong choices often bring them unhappiness and bring sadness and bring depression and bring dis-ease and bring all of the rest of the kinds of things that we don't want to have. Now, that's not to say that just because we believe the way we believe that we're going to avoid these things, but it does mean that in the face of these things, we can believe that life is great. And life is certainly a great experience.
Yes, it is. Another song that lifts and stays in your mind a long time is I Am Unlimited. And we are unlimited. We limit ourselves, but basically we're unlimited. And it's interesting how the songs that we hear and words that we hear stay in our head for a long, long time. And some people say, well, they don't want to go to a movie or a play, that you can't leave there humming some of the songs. Well, there's something to that. And the lesson there is don't fill our minds with trash, and don't fill our minds with things that pull us down, but fill our minds in our leisure time with things that lift us. And whatever that is, that if it lifts us, then it's wonderful. But if it makes us depressed and feel sad, then it doesn't serve any positive purpose, does it?
No, not at all. And so often people in counseling will say, well, it depresses me to read the newspaper. What should I do? And my response is very simple: don't read the newspaper until you get to a point where you can read the newspaper. And then you're able to read the newspaper and not be so negatively affected by it. And we are talking about positive and negative choices, and we're always faced with the opportunity to choose the positive or the negative in terms of our attitudes, in the terms of our worldview, in terms of how it is we feel about our own circumstance and situation. So often in today's environment, certainly with the changing economy, there are certain things that people are very depressed about, and conventional wisdom teaches us that we ought to be depressed about this or that, when conventional wisdom is not always right. And we certainly are the first to talk about the fact that conventional wisdom is not always right. An empty checkbook is a great opportunity. A real serious problem is a great opportunity for us to stretch And that is the kind of thinking that we want to cultivate within ourselves and within our young people, within our youth programs. As we develop programs, that's what we try very desperately to do. One of the analogies that we use so often is that a mathematician, of course, take, for instance, a mathematician, as he or she becomes better and better at their trade, then people bring them harder and harder problems. And so, and they get the joy out of their work through solving the problems, and they get better and better at solving the problems. And life is not unlike that. Mm-hmm. And so, we're going to have circumstances, we're going to have situations, we're going to have difficulty. And that's not to say at all that we ought not to grieve at the appropriate time. We ought not to be have times of questioning and doubting and times of unhappiness, because we're all going to have those. But that in those times, those are often the times that are giving us the greatest opportunity. And so often on this program, we've talked about someone, and I won't name her because she did make her transition a long time ago, but she had come up to me after a lecture, and she had the news that she had a terminal illness, and she just didn't know how she was going to get through that illness, and she was devastated by it. And then we saw her through that illness and through that terminal state, and she did not avoid it at all. And at the end of her 6 months, and she was given 6 months to live, and she made her transition in about 6 months. But at the end of the 6 months, one of the things, and she made that transition in such a peaceful and resolute way. She had resolved so many issues with family. She had done so many things that she had put off doing in the past. She had become such a happy and positive and affirmative person. And in the very end, one of the last things that she said to me was, I never would have been able to do all of the things that I did if I hadn't had this disease. And so even the worst circumstance, people lose jobs all the time. And of course, what happens when we lose our jobs is we begin to question ourselves. We begin to question our abilities to get another job, to be able to provide for our families, to pay our rent, to do all of those things. And conventional wisdom tells us, well, we ought to be really concerned. Well, we ought to be concerned because work is good, but we also have an opportunity then to do something different. And if we do something different, it might very well be something, and we often find as we work through people in transition that their changing work environment brings them into a new dimension of life that they never would have expected. The same with relationships. And so we can go on and on and on with these issues of problems that we can really turn into positive aspects of life, and it makes life great.
Yes, and regardless of how anything ends, and everything is going to end ultimately, then there's always something new and different. And if we can remember that instead of panicking and trying to hold on forever to the same thing, then it makes all the difference in the world. And I've seen it in people. Talked with a young man recently. Well, he's in his mid-50s, and his work is going to be ended. He works for a city nearby. And he said, but that'll give me a chance to look into the alternative medicine that I've been so interested in, and perhaps do something in that field, and can contribute financially to my family more fully than I ever have done in this routine job. And that's the way to look at life, to see beyond the problem, that there's always something new and different and wonderful ahead and at hand. But it's all in our minds. And as you so often say, we live in our minds and not in the world. As we live in our minds, we have control. We are in charge. But if we let fear be in charge, then we're not going to be very happy about it. But if we look to the future, as everything is bright and wonderful and life is great, then it makes a difference in how we look at things. And we can still see the problems of life. I was thinking of my little grandson. He and his parents went on holiday this week, and they brought their goldfish over for me to keep for them. And his mother was showing me how much food to give that goldfish every day. And he said to me, and don't touch it. If you touch it, it'll have to go down the toilet and you will be very sad. And so I thought I had to really laugh because that's the voice of experience speaking, I'm sure. But there's a good lesson there that he learned a lesson, and he was trying to teach me not to fall into the same trap. So we can listen to other people. We can listen to our own inner voice and see what to avoid and how to move on. But life is a series of changes, and as we move on, if we move on happily, we never know what wonderful good things are going to be happening.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I thought you were going to say that you'd killed the goldfish.
No,
yeah.
I didn't touch it.
The goldfish is alive and well, but it is true. We do live in our minds, and it's tremendously important. You touched on something that we need to talk about, and in the program, especially when we talk about life being great, and that is that fear paralyzes, fear destroys, and fear stops our life from unfolding in any form of greatness. And that is just something that we need to understand. In the book of Job, of course, we have that wonderful quotation, that which I had feared has come upon me. And so often we fear things and we draw them to us. We draw our fears to us, and then we wallow in them, and we need to be strong enough to, and sometimes again we need help in order to move on and move beyond that. But we can do that, and if we do, then life becomes greater. Life's already great for everyone. It's just that we don't always see it and we don't always claim it.
Yes, and we need to be responsible for our own happiness, and we need to be responsible for how we affect the lives of other people, and not to change other people, but to change ourselves, so that we're not dragging others down with our own misery. And that's a choice that we each face daily, and that's something we can do to help to help in the world, and to help the world be a better place and a happier place for everyone around us, because everything that we say or do makes a difference in the world.
Mm-hmm. And everything that we say or do does make a difference in the world, and it makes a difference in us. And it outpictures in us. You know, it's very difficult. It's hard to continue to try to fool everybody, and we can't fool everybody for very long. And so it's really important, I think, for us to remember that we want to allow that, as we want to allow all of the dimensions of our lives to come out in their richest and fullest form. And when we do, then that the life that we have becomes abundant and great, and that wonderful experience.
Yes, and then we're an inspiration to others. We help others in just being with them. And then we're helped by other people too, because in truth, we're all one.
Yeah. And as we help others, we help ourselves. And it's kind of it is part of that connectiveness that we all have. We'd like to pause at this point in the program and offer you some information.
Iris invite you to be with them every Sunday morning at the magnificent and historic Scottish Rite Cathedral, located at 855 Elm Avenue in Long Beach. Our worship service and Sunday school begin at 11 a.m. Angelus Unity Cathedral Church at the Scottish Rite Cathedral meets in the only true cathedral church located in the city of Long Beach. This magnificent grand building is a true architectural jewel. The service begins at 11 a.m. and there is Sunday school for the children. There is always plenty of free parking in the cathedral lot. Mike and Iris look forward to meeting you and your family this Sunday. People of all faiths are always welcome. We will be saving you a seat this Sunday at Angelus Unity Cathedral Church at the Scottish Rite Cathedral. You will be warmly welcomed.
So in the second half of the program, maybe we could talk about some techniques of drawing upon our own greatness. And I think as we do this, one of the things that we want to say is that when we talk about making choices and we talk about the fact that we determine the quality of our lives to a great extent, we don't detract from the presence and the power of the divines. You know, so often people believe and will make reference to the fact that our philosophical and religious belief takes away from God. And in fact, we're not taking away from that magnificent power and that reality and that truth, but we are adding to it in terms of the dimension that we have something to do too in this aspect of life. And just letting go and letting God is is a wonderful saying, but we need to let go and let God guide us and direct us in what it is we need to do. And then as we do our part, then we begin to see some magnificent things happening, because simply folding our hands and waiting for infinite intelligence and the love of God to just manifest is not in the cards for most of us. So
That's true. And I think one of the most important things we can remind people of is that each person is a part of Creator God, and each person is equally important in the eyes of God. And we each came here for specific reasons. And because we came for specific reasons, then we have different lifestyles, we have different ways of being. But that doesn't mean that we're not equal. We are. We just came to do different things. And so when we look at life like that, it makes to me a lot more sense, and we're each a part of each other. We're each a part of Creator God. We're all interconnected. There's always that interconnection, and we can attune ourselves to Divine Creator at any moment. And to me, it's such a wonderful thing that we can always go home to God just in one moment, any moment. And anyone can. We all can. And it's wonderful to go to church. It's wonderful to be a part of a church. But we are the church within ourselves. And we are that part of Divine Creator. And as I attend church, it just reinforces that for me, and it helps me remember, and it gives me a wonderful feeling. But if people choose not to go to church, then that's their choice. And they can still be equally wonderful. They can be equally fulfilled if that's what they wish. So we need to know what we need in this world. We need to know what we want and wish to contribute in life, and then act accordingly. But I think when people feel inferior or feel fear, any negativity, then it takes away from their joy of life, from the greatness of life. And as it takes away, then it pulls down energy. And not only does it affect them, but it affects the people around them.
absolutely. And you just touched upon an important point. It pulls down energy, and it tends to make us feel tired and weary and burdened and all of the rest. And the other aspect that you touched upon, which is tremendously important, and one of the reasons why metaphysical and New Thought people will never proselytize, is that we are profoundly respectful of people of all faiths and all religions. And so everybody's faith is worthy of our respect, and not only our tolerance, but our understanding and our acceptance, because it isn't ever that we're talking about people changing their faith tradition or changing their church affiliation. We're talking about universal principles that transcend all of that. And that's what unity is all about. Unity consciousness and unity teachings are about the unity of all people through a diverse culture, a diverse world, living in civility with profound and tremendous respect one for another. And so that's fundamental to what we believe. And so we aren't going to knock on anybody's door, and we're not going to criticize, and not only our group, but any New Thought group or any metaphysical group is not going to criticize other faith traditions or the lack thereof. And even people who have no faith can be and are profoundly good.
Yeah.
And that's wonder, a wonder of life and a wonder of the greatness that we embrace and understand about all people.
Yes, and we respect everyone's right to do what they feel they need to do because that's what they need to do. And we, unless we're clairvoyant, we can't know why they need to do what they need to do. We can't know what any specific person came in to do. But we respect the individuality of each individual, and we respect that they each have their own way that they need to follow. And every church is important for the people who attend that church, and the people who don't attend any church, well, they need to do. They have that need to do it alone, to go it alone. And who knows why they have that need, but it's obvious they do, because that's the law of cause and effect. If they didn't have that need to not have a church around them, then they would have one. And then those people who attend all the various temples, churches, mosques, and so forth, it's right for them. It's just as right for them as ours is for us. And that's a wonderful thing. It's part of God's plan, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. That absolute freedom and liberating power and grace. So when we talk about the greatness of life, we're talking about the fact that everybody has the potential, everybody already is and has a great life, but many don't experience life in its fullness and greatness because of the circumstances and situations of their way of thinking, or because of the experiences through which they've moved. Buckminster Fuller said some of us are more damaged than others. And so people are indeed damaged and hurt. And so that's a reality. And so our work is to do the very best that we can and to share with others their greatness and to draw out of them the positive aspects of their being and to help as much as we can in the realization of that truth. But everyone will come to that point. It's very much like almost every talk that I give, as you know, I end with the good news is, and that's the good news. So,
yes, and we don't realize possibly the effect we have on others. I know how it lifts my spirit when people accept me at face value, and so we can accept other people in that same way. And as we do, then it lifts their spirit and so forth. So it's how we react to others makes a big difference in the world and makes a big difference in the energy around us.
This energy issue and the depletion of energy is something, and we just have a couple of minutes to go, but in the last couple of minutes, I think the vitality of life can, or the lack of vitality can rob us, or seemingly rob us of our greatness and the greatness that we feel in life because we are so weary all of the time. And as we dissipate our energies on negative experiences, thoughts, and feelings, as we do that, as we allow those aspects of our being to come to the forefront of our thinking and of our life experience, we just wear ourselves out, don't we?
Well, one reason we're weary is we're fighting against life itself, and we're fighting against what other people expect of us. Well, people can expect whatever they like of us, of each other, but it's up to us of how we allow that to affect us, what other people think. And also, when we're fighting life, then we're losing energy. And anytime we're thinking negative thoughts, we're losing energy. And it's just like some people, when they first get up in the morning, have a hard time facing the day. But the way we would face the day is to just be grateful to God for life, grateful for that which surrounds us, and grateful for life itself. and grateful that we have an opportunity to just send light and love out into the world. And a lot of people blame themselves and hit themselves over the head because they think they're not doing enough in life. And if they're not doing enough, then they can do more. But whatever we do, if we do it with grace and love and charm and light, then it makes a difference in the world. And it does. So we don't have to move mountains. All we have to do is be in light and love. And a lot of people, as they get older, they think, well, life's passed them by and they can't do very much anymore. Well, you're never too old to send out light and love. And we can do that consciously. It makes a difference. And we can know that it makes a difference, and then it makes a difference within us. And and as we teach children to be thoughtful and kind to others, that makes a difference because those children will react. Children are like little sponges. They pick up whatever is around them, the energies that are around them. And so we can make a difference in the world, and we do.
Mm-hmm. And as we let children teach us.
Yes, yes.
As has been your experience
Yes.
with your grandchildren.
Yes, and so we can see these children, and I'm just amazed at the depth of children. And I think I told you that my godson wrote me a note when he was 11 years old, and he said, I said, you've been very important in my life since the day I was born, including the day I was born. He says, you're not boring like some people. I bet even if the smallest ant was in trouble, you'd be right there for it. You add another heart to my soul. Now, isn't that deep for an 11-year-old child? And I think that we can let children, as you just said, we can let children guide us. And then we can react with compassion and love and so forth with other people around us because we see if we try to be as a little child.
Mm-hmm. And we can expect the best. We can expect the best from ourselves and for others, and expect that at times we're going to be disappointed, and but still expect that good and great and wonderful and magnificent things are going to happen, because life is a great experience, but it is up to us, and the choice is always ours, and that choice is a magnificent and freeing experience. And as we sing so often in church, we are free and we are unlimited. And because we're free and unlimited, we're able to experience the fullness and the greatness of life. And we hope that the information that we've shared with you has been useful, and we look forward to seeing you next time.